Hello and welcome to Talk Truth. My name is Corey Huntsberger. I've got my father, Alan Huntsberger, in the studio. And Dad, we're going to start off with our foundational verse. The earth and everything in it, the world and its inhabitants belong to the Lord, for he laid its foundation on the seas and established it on the rivers. Psalm 24, 1 and 2. That is our starting verse. We start from there because it puts us all on the same page. The earth, creation, its inhabitants, the animals, the air, the water, we all share it because God created it, and he's the creator of all things, right?
He is. That's the beautiful thing. And, we call our show Talk Truth. And what we mean is exactly that, truth. And in the Greek, truth is more than facts or information. Truth is a person. Truth is Jesus Christ. In John 1:14, it says, the word became flesh and took up residence among us. We observe his glory, the glory as the one and only Son from the Father, full of grace and truth. So Jesus didn't just speak truth, he was truth. In him, grace and truth are perfectly joined. In John 1:17, it says the law was given through Moses, but grace and truth came through Jesus Christ. So that's the beautiful thing. So the law shows us our need. Jesus brought the answer with grace and truth.
Yeah. That's the secret combination. You got to have them both. If you have all truth and no grace, you're just some kind of mean, you know what I mean? You're doing everything wrong. If you all have grace and no truth, it's like, oh, it's okay. You're my little sweetheart. You're great. You got to have them both equally mixed, grace and truth, to get down to the core. I love it. Anyway, let's get on with our guest. We got him. He's back. Mr. Leighton Grey. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, it's great to be here, guys. I'm looking forward to the conversation, talking some truth.
Well, we're excited to have you because we really want to focus on this half hour is going to go in different many directions, but we wanted to have you on because you're going to be the moderator for our first ever Talk Truth by-election candidate forum that's happening July 31st. This is like an act of God piecing this together. It's happening in Tofield. Our viewers are welcome to come. It's going to be a little bit of a meet and greet. Leighton, you're going to be there. Sean Buckley and Teresa are going to be there. I think Tanner today, Michael Wagner, Alan and I, like this whole list of characters, plus 5 candidates that we've invited that are running for that area. And we're going to ask them some questions. And we're going to have a little bit of an open mic so our viewers, the people that attend, can ask questions. You can go to the event by going to our website, go to talktruth.com, click on events, register that you're going to be there. We're only allowed to have 500 people. It's not a huge venue, but it's happening quickly. It's going to be at 6:30 on July 31st. That's a Thursday night in Tofield, Alberta. We want everyone to come out because God is doing something. And I know that sounds crazy. He's doing something. And Alan, I'm going to let you explain what I mean by that because it is not a coincidence. That's my word, a coincidence, that this massive by-election, very important, especially for, the leader of the opposition party to get a seat, happening smack dab in Tofield where Alan started a church. I mean, come on, right, Dad?
Yeah. Well, we talk about the sovereignty of God. So what came to our minds is what is in the sovereignty of God? What is God got up his sleeve kind of a thing? What is he planning? Why did the by-election happen here, Battle River, Crowfoot? And is it because our church, the House Ministries, is right in the middle of it? And does that mean he wants us to get involved? And therefore, how does he want us to get involved? Well, our whole thing, and Corey, you've said it as well, that if we as Canada or even as Alberta, if we don't start putting God first in everything, we're going to continue to go down this crazy road that our country is going down, which is for destruction and slavery. And the only thing that's going to free us and give us freedom and truth is God. And so
Amen.
we believe that God wants us to get involved in this by-election. And so we've asked the church if they would open their doors and allow us to do a by-election forum and ask the candidates who are running for a registered federal party in Canada, ask them what they plan to do, representing not only Canada as an MP, but they're going to be representing Alberta in the very tricky area of Alberta, saying, look, we don't want equalization papers anymore. And we are thinking about separating from Canada. So, what are you going to do to try to help this thing or deter this thing from happening? What are you doing?
Yep.
Well, I'm so honored to be involved in this event. I think it's vitally important. And I think the fact that Talk Truth is putting this all together is also worth noting because let's face it, you gentlemen are not political types. You're apolitical. And you have a certain degree of integrity that you bring to this discussion and to this event. And I think people are aware of that. And that's really, as the moderator, as somebody who's going to be putting questions to the candidates, one of the things I want to ask them is, what about integrity? What about truth? And this ties into a piece that I happen to be writing for my own show called Right and Honorable When Integrity is Traded for 30 Pieces of Silver. Now, folks just listen to, the guiding verse of Talk Truth, which is about, of course, God, a God of abundance, a world in which all things belong to God. Well, listen to what our Prime Minister says in his book. I challenge you to disagree that this is the complete antithesis of that verse. He says Western society is morally rotten. It has been corrupted by capitalism, and this requires rigid controls of personal freedoms, industry, and corporate funding. This is not a promise to make the lives of ordinary people better, but temporarily worse. This will be a world of severely constrained choice, less flying, less meat, more inconvenience, and temporarily more poverty. Assets will be stranded, gasoline cars will be unsaleable, and inefficient properties will be unrentable. That's from Mark Carney in his first book, Values. Well, those aren't God's values. Those aren't the values of Talk Truth, and they shouldn't be the values that we expect of our parliamentarians. And this concept of right and honorable is really important. We call our members of the legislature and of parliament honorable and right honorable. And in parliamentary tradition, in the Westminster system of England and Canada, this used to mean something. These were more than just honorifics denoting respect or status or specific roles within government or parliamentary context. The historical significance is deeper than that. It stems from ancient customs rooted in the highest traditions of nobility, governance, and protocol. Not so long ago, a cabinet minister or a parliamentarian faced with an ethical scandal would have had to take a leave of absence from their post or even resign, pending the outcome of a full investigation into the alleged controversy. But enter Justin Trudeau, who skated through a half dozen parliamentary ethics violations like Connor McDavid, weaving through helpless defenders. And he was like Teflon. Nothing stuck to him. Right down to the very end when he walked off into the sunny ways of his retirement with a huge personal fortune amassed during his decade in office and an $8 million retirement package. Now that was bad enough, but now his successor, the Right Honorable Mark Carney, we find out after months of dodging questions and hiding behind vague platitudes about climate leadership, Carney's official conflict of interest screen has been released by the ethics commissioner. And its results are nothing short of staggering. Not 5 entities, not a dozen, but 103. That is how many corporate and financial interests Mark Carney has quietly acknowledged are too conflicted for him to touch. So at the epicenter of this is, of course, his involvement in Brookfield Asset Management, a $1 trillion global investment firm where Carney was vice chair before walking straight into Canada's top political office. But this very same Brookfield owns energy projects, pipelines, nuclear companies, real estate empires, and carbon offset schemes. You name it, they have a piece of it. And now they have a former executive running our country. This is obviously dishonorable, and in former times would have called for Carney's resignation immediately. But he's not only enmeshed in over 103 conflicts of interest, he's lied about them publicly. And despite this, we're told this is all perfectly legal. We're told that he has recused himself. Here, once again, is the liberal leftist distinction between what is legal and what is right and what is true. But this disclosure shows something much bigger, and this ties into the event that you guys are putting on. A government that is captured by finance, a prime minister with deep ongoing entanglements in the very sectors of his policies that not only enrich him, but his friends, and a climate agenda that begins to look a whole lot like a money printing operation for the self-styled global elites. So I think at this event, one of the key things that these candidates need to hear in terms of questions is, okay, if you are going to go to Ottawa and you are going to represent this riding, let's say it's Mr. Poilievre, what are you going to do in order to be someone who speaks truth, someone who is actually right, stands up for the right, someone who actually behaves honorably? Or are you going to go back to Ottawa and continue to be part of the problem, part of the graft, part of the corruption, part of the destruction of Canadian values, which are Christian values? What do you stand for? What are you going to do in Ottawa to try and change the way things are done there? Because right now, what we have in Ottawa is essentially a Ponzi scheme. Mark Carney has been installed there for the purposes of carrying on this green scam that's going to enrich himself immensely and enrich all of his friends. And it's going to destroy the lives of Canadians. That quotation I said, that's what he's planning on doing, folks. He's talking about not making our lives better, but making them worse, about restricting our choices. We won't be able to fly in planes to travel, to visit our friends or go on vacation. We won't be able to eat meat. Life will be more inconvenient. We won't be able to drive our cars. He says temporarily there's going to be more poverty. Well, what poverty is he talking? He's not talking about his poverty.
Right.
He's talking about your poverty. Assets will be stranded. That means your house, your cars. So this election is vitally important. But it's great that you guys are involved in this, because this is a great opportunity to refocus our Canadian political system on what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be about truth, about being honorable, about doing what's right, and about servant leadership, and which is completely absent from the whole political scene. And so I just wanted to sort of frame what's going on in Ottawa in the context of, who that riding is going to be sending to Ottawa. And I think these are really, really important questions for the candidates to answer. What do you think?
One of the things that come to my mind as well is, why did they pick this area in, basically central Alberta?
Yeah, God's country.
Knowing that Alberta has already voted, on eliminating the equalization payments, and
Yes.
knowing that there's more people are ready to vote, to become independent and a sovereign nation in Canada. So did they pick Western Canada to try to look like they're trying to include Western Canada in Canada, which they've, we've wanted in Canada over decades and have
Right.
never got it. Never.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you saw the article that Dr. Moodry wrote in the Western Standard the other day.
I did. Yes.
I loved it. Did you not love that? He said, enough is enough.
Yeah.
We're done.
Yeah.
We're done. So it'll be interesting to see what this by-election is trying to portray to Albertans.
Well, this is one of the things, one of the key questions I think that people like Pierre Poilievre needs to be asked, because he's come out publicly, as you know, in favor of continuation of equalization, which goes against 62% of what the Alberta electorate said only 4 years ago. And he's also said publicly that he's opposed to Alberta separatism and independence for Alberta. He's a federalist. And so these are questions that need to be asked, because if he's going to be the elected member for a riding that's in the heartland of rural Alberta, in a riding where probably more than 7 in 10 voters are in favor of Alberta independence, how is that going to play out? How is he going to represent them? And it raises another question that you and I, that we've talked about off air, and that is this whole idea that somebody like Mr. Poilievre can parachute into a riding that he knows nothing about, he has no connection to whatsoever, doesn't know the people, doesn't know the lay of the land, doesn't know the churches, doesn't know the school board, doesn't know any of these people, but he's going to parachute in and he's going to be their parliamentarian. He's going to be their voice in Ottawa. And you have to sort of scratch your head and wonder, well, how does that work exactly? But then you look at what Danielle Smith did when she became leader of the UCP. She did exactly the same thing. Instead of running in a riding in Calgary, which is where she's from, she chose Medicine Hat because that riding was a UCP stronghold. She doesn't have an historical connection to that riding. But it served her well because, of course, she's now the premier of Alberta and by all accounts, the most popular quote unquote conservative politician in Canada. But it begs an important question, doesn't it, about whether or not this is right and proper, noting that Mr. Carney did the exact same thing when he was made the leader of the Liberal Party earlier this year, and then decided to oust the person who was the elected leader there. In fact, disqualified them from running against him as the Liberal candidate, and parachuted himself into a Liberal riding that he is not from. And so that's maybe an important question that he needs to be asked at this debate. What do you think?
Well, I think it drives me crazy, because do we need to change our laws? Because we're starting to see the holes. One, definitely, how can people just come swoop in? One, how do you kick someone out who's already been voted that's the guy we want to send to Ottawa, and then he leaves, and then it's a bunch of people that are not even from that area, don't know the people, don't know their issues and questions and how they want them to be themselves to be represented. The other is, the problem is, and Alan said it, we're inviting people from a registered federal party because there's a problem on the ballot system. We saw it happen before. It's happening again. They're loading it up with independents. There's now one guy out there who's the official agent, putting in. I think he's at 73 names now of independent people on the ballot. How is that even possible, and why is that happening? Because that happened before. I think he lost his seat because there was over 200 or something like that on the ballot. And now we're back to this. This is the part that average Joes, people like me, and Alan and all that, it just drives us crazy, the game of politics. I take that as a badge of honor when you started off the show, Leighton, saying that Alan and I are not very, politically,
Right.
We're just truth tellers. Because that's what I'm saying. I would never do that. I would never load up a ballot with a bunch of names, just to make it confusing. And I think for the regular person, it drives us nuts when we see these political games happen over and over and over. Why is it so difficult to just be simple and pure in how this process works?
Right. Well, as you guys know, talking truth has a price, and most politicians don't want to pay that price. It's much easier to not speak truth. It's much easier to tell lies over here, to tell lies over there, to tell people what you think they want to hear in order to curry favor in different quarters. We don't have, unfortunately, in this country, we have a paucity of the type of leadership that we deserve. We don't have a leader of the caliber of Winston Churchill, who said, "So you have enemies? Good. It means you stood up for something." We don't have a leader the caliber of a Maggie Thatcher, who wouldn't even read the paper. She was so disinterested in polling and what the public thought, and totally focused on doing what she thought was best for the British people. We don't even have someone like a John Diefenbaker today in this country, who gave maybe the best description of what a Canadian is that I've ever read, in the context of someone who's free, and who is dedicated to truth. And that's what I think. I hope what you guys are doing catches on, because it might be the beginning of something really, really important in Canadian politics. Because if we're going to restore truth to the political scene, we know it's got to happen at the grassroots, and we know we got to have God at the center of that conversation, because where God is, truth is, and there's no escaping that. And so I'm really hopeful that this event that you gentlemen are putting on is going to be maybe the tip of the spear. That's going to be maybe lead to a sea change in Canadian politics, because we know that the top-down system that's been dominating politics in this country, and indeed in the United States and elsewhere, for too long, is not serving truth, or it's not serving the everyday people very well, is it?
I don't know if you saw the Western Standard. I refer to it because a lot of times there's a lot of articles there that we can't find anywhere else. But the CRTC is offering money. The CRTC, who controls all radio and television stations, is offering money to stations who are willing to promote their DEI policies.
Yeah.
So when you start having government paying,
that's the 30 pieces
media,
of silver right there. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. When you start doing that, in Canada, if God's people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray, but don't stop there. Don't stop there. Praying is good, but don't stop there. Seek my face and turn from their evil ways. What's evil? Well, one evil thing could be that in a democracy, you don't vote. A lot of the problems that we have in our cities and electrics and everything else is people don't go out to vote. You go, nah, I'm not going to get involved in it. No. In a democracy, we the people are the government. We the people are the ones that are destined of our future and what we want to see happen in our country. Not some leader dictating to us. We the people. So folks, we got to humble ourselves. We got to confess our evil ways. And then God says, I'll heal their land. Michael Wagner just put an article on his Facebook this morning saying that a lot of churches are hiding behind separation of church and state.
Yeah.
Yes.
And how wrong that is when it comes, because there's no separation here. Why? The earth and everything in it, the world and its inhabitants belong to the Lord. Everything.
Right. Yeah, this separation of church and state really is a leftist trope, and the goal of it is to supplant to put the state at the head below the church. And when I say the church, I mean the church of the body of Jesus Christ. And this is why Christianity is so under attack in this country, because Christianity and truth, as Alan noted off the top of the show, are one. Truth is in the personage of a person, that is Jesus Christ. And so in order to attack truth, we've got to attack Jesus Christ. And that is principally why Christianity is so much under attack in this country and elsewhere in the world.
Yeah. Well, Leighton, we really appreciate having you on the show. I just want everyone to know that this event that we're doing is going to be completely, integrity, transparency. We've reached out and invited the candidates. We're going to be sending a list of questions to the candidates before it happens, so there's no gotchas or surprise attacks. We're not here to entrap anybody or anything. We're just here to sit down and have true questions, find out what the truth is, that they feel on certain issues that are important to the people, and get out and meet the candidates, because this is a big one. If Pierre does not get this win, what does that mean for his career?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Is it over?
And for the country.
And for the country.
Yeah.
There's a lot riding on this. So we're excited that you're going to be part of it. We know you're going to be super professional. You're one of Canada's top 50 lawyers, so you can't get more professional than that, my friend. So we're grateful for you.
I just have to resist the temptation to cross-examine these guys because, it's in my blood to do that. I got to be moderate. I got to be a moderator. Yes, moderate.
Well, I know you could do it. We really appreciate having you.
Wise as serpents, gentle as doves, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate you, man. We'll have you back. Well, interesting conversation with Leighton. Lots of questions. But yes, Talk Truth. It's our very first by-election candidate forum. I know some of you are probably sitting there in your living room going, what are you guys doing? You know what? I asked the same question to the Lord. Lord, what are you doing? But you know what? We feel this is what we're supposed to do. We're excited to do it, to facilitate the candidates, give them a little bit of a platform. We've also invited each one to come on the show, to do a show with them so that they can talk about the issues of the day and answer questions and get to know them. I don't know, Alan. It's funny how God asks you to do something and you're like, what? I'm supposed to what?
I know. And, it's a walk of faith because, we need the Lord and we need his Holy Spirit, because the question is, how do we know truth today? And Jesus said it in John. He said, where the Spirit of truth comes, he will guide you into all truth. And so the Holy Spirit is the Spirit of truth. He leads us, he teaches us, he reveals Jesus to our hearts and minds. And that's what we put our trust in.
Yeah. Well, we invite people to want to come. It's on July 31st, 6:30 in Tofield. You can find all the details on our website, gotalktruth.com. Click on events, fill out the little form. It's just to let us know that you're coming. If you're bringing anybody, we can only have about 500 people there. It's going to be awesome. Chance to meet everybody, chance to meet the candidates. I'm excited about it. We'll see what God does. If you want to help support our mission, keep this kind of conversation and truth on the air, we are viewer supported. We don't take government funds or lobbyist groups or special interests. It's only because of the generosity of those that watch the show that we're able to do what we do every day. You can go to our website, gotalktruth.com, click on donate. Many different ways to give digitally that way. If you'd like to do it through the mail, you can. You can make your gift payable to Heritage Christian Ministries Association and send it to 246 Stewart Green Southwest, Suite 3260, Calgary, Alberta, T3H 3C8. And if you'd like prayer, you can call our toll-free line, 1-800-915-0056, and someone from our prayer team will pray with you. All right, Dad, we're out of time. We'll see you guys later.
Love you.